Welcome back to another episode of Road to William. We're about to get right into this video. Do trans men and cisgender men think the same? So this is going to be interesting. I've never watched this before, so we're going to watch it together. I just want to say this. Before seeing it, it's saying, do trans men and cisgender men think the same? Let's just go back to little video me. Since a young buck, and I don't know if y'all feel like this too, but it was just certain things about me that I just was like, it just something ain't clicking. Of like the supposed natural mannerisms I'm supposed to have. But it's like I'm going against that naturally. I don't know. We just gonna get into it. I don't know where this video is about to take us, but I'm along for the ride.
Welcome back to the Be Free YouTube channel. My name is Brian Ferrata, and today we are asking the question, do cisgender men and transgender men think the same? Transgender people should disclose that they are trans on the first date. Mm-hmm. Ooh, okay.
It's a safety issue, especially a comfortability issue. Like, if you're not comfortable telling me right now, cool. And if the vibes are right, cool, there could be a second date. You can tell me on a second, third date. If you told me on a third date, it's like, all right, I've obviously gone on 3 dates with you. Like, I like you as a person. So any extra information, you probably didn't lose.
It's a deceptive issue, I guess, because some people might have certain reservations. So just to be open and honest, like from the get-go.
But what about what Marcus said? Like, what if they don't feel safe opening up to someone that maybe they just met?
I feel like if you were bold enough and courageous enough to make the decision, then you should have no problem like disclosing that information.
If you go on a date with someone, right, like you're vibing with someone, you've decided to go on a date with them, so you're already there on the date. Whether or not that information comes into play for each trans person to kind of figure in, I think that there's so many parts of our identity that we don't want to tell right off the bat, right? Whether it's like, what if you're sick, right? Like there's something you don't want to share about that because you don't want to be judged. You just want to be in the moment with that person as you are. It is also a huge safety thing because like there is the risk of then that person maybe becoming violent and all these different things. So if there isn't transphobia in the room, it should be okay either way. And if that changes the course of like your relationship, like whether you become romantic or like sexual or not, like that is up to that person who's gone on that date with a trans person. But like the expectation that like, if I don't tell you, I'm deceiving you, that becomes embedded transphobia, right? Because it's like, what's the deception? Like, I'm not going to hurt you or like make you gay or something if you choose not to continue this.
The safety thing is a huge factor because you don't know, you could tell someone you're trans and then like get killed for it, and that's still happening these days. And also just like maybe the date doesn't go good and like I don't see that person again, and now they just know this whole thing about me, and I don't really want that.
It is a lot more fun like when I feel safe to talk about it. Like I much prefer a date where I'm going right into it.
Most of the world is a heterosexual space. For trans people, like let's say if you had to disclose that you were trans before you started vibing with someone, then it's essentially like you don't have that space anywhere. That kind of takes away from the whole point. And then literally there's no space where you can just be yourself and like maybe meet someone that you have a spark with.
Exactly. There's no expectation or like commitment in like a first date or like a first meeting or like just a first connection. Like if that happened, whether or not you're trans, like that was real. So it's like feeling limited to just being open to that and having to like lead with like, but I have a pussy is like weird to me, because it's like, it's like, if that really fucking matters, then like you still experience a connection with me. Like,
I mean, there's a lot of things I'm not saying on the first date. Be like, hey, I have chronic anxiety and depression. Like I'm not telling you that on third date, I might tell you, hey, by the way, I didn't text you for 3 days because I be in my own head sometimes. But like, I don't think you need to disclose anything that you don't feel comfortable with on the first date.
We place all this like expectation on trans people, but what about the person who's getting the information told to them and how they react?
David, what do you think of those answers?
Honestly, it's just a whole lot of information right now, but I definitely agree. I feel like, trans people do deserve to be safe wherever they are. And after listening to a couple of different points, like if you're not comfortable on the first date, that's just a personal preference and a personal thing.
What about you, Marcus? Does it make you want to go one way or the other?
I'm gonna stay in my neutral spot just because one, I'm very understanding of like the safety issue. For me, if I was talking to a woman, and she said, "Hey, by the way, I'm a trans woman and I am pre-op," unfortunately, I'm just not into that. I'm sorry, not offended. I appreciate your time as a person. Love you. That's just not what I'm into as a person. And it's not like I learned it on third date. If I learned it on third date, hey, by the way, I'm pre-op, I'd be like, that still like you. We can hang out, but just me knowing me, just it's not for me.
I really appreciate you just saying like for me and not like as a straight man. I feel like that's an important moment of language. If you are straight, you can still sleep with a pre-op trans woman and be straight. Like that doesn't change anything. If you are a person and has decided that that doesn't work for you, that's completely within your agency, right? And like I don't know. I just think the way we think about like what makes someone straight or not is important because it is a cause of a lot of the violence. But like speaking at is it about it like in a respectful way from a personal experience that doesn't like discredit other people's straight experience or not, right?
That was a great discussion. I like that one. It should be illegal to transition before the age of 18. Right.
Before a certain age, like your brain typically is just not, developed enough for you to make certain decisions. I don't know if illegal would be the right term, but I definitely think there should be some kind of restriction or just, period where you wait. Because, the older you get, the more life experiences you have, certain things may change. And up until a certain point, there is certain like programming, things like that, that are embedded into the youth. So I feel like just giving a person time to develop and really like know what they want for themselves before making any drastic decisions that may change the course of their life would definitely be, ideal.
I'm gonna tell you off rip. I knew from a young ditty, nothing changed. Nothing changed. Okay, I get what he's saying though. I get what you're saying, but because you know he's not trans, he doesn't identify as trans. Like then he won't understand it. Like you're still looking at an outside perspective. You feel me? Y'all, let me just. I'm saying I knew. Like, of course you're not gonna understand it because you're not going through it, you know. And so I'm telling you about a person who's going through it. I'm telling you, like, the honest age was around 7 years old. That I knew, like, I just didn't understand what was going on with myself. You know, I went through the what tomboy phase and all that. Oh, it's a phase, things like that. And I was gay, and then it was like, okay, and then now it's like, no, it's deeper than just who I want to date. It's more about me and myself. I'm not myself. I didn't mean to go that deep into this, y'all. I really didn't. But this is a great conversation. I try not to talk too much during. I try and like let me fully like hear it and understand it in the moment. So I'm not stopping and going, stopping and go. So I'm trying to, if I'm not saying too much, I'm just processing. So I just want to put that out there though. It's his answer is understandable because he didn't go through, he's not going through it. So, but I'm gonna let you know off rip as a young buck, at a young age. So I get the whole you gotta develop your mind and life gonna develop however life gonna develop. No one has a cookie cutter way of doing it. No one has a cookie cutter way of doing this life stuff. It doesn't come cookie cutter. When life hits you, it's gonna hit you and you're gonna have to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? Let me stop. Let me just go ahead, keep play. All right.
People always want to say like, children don't know what they want or who they are. But I mean, at least for my experience, I knew I was trans at a very young age.
Thank you. Thank you. I just said I wasn't gonna start and stop, but he just said what I said. He just said it. Yes. Okay. I'm just geeked right now because I literally just said that. Literally. Okay. All right.
It wasn't talked about enough. I didn't see it enough, and I was like afraid to really accept it until later on.
Totally. Like, I think a lot of people don't realize there are so many measures in place to slow the process down for kids, especially like hormone blockers, which really just give kids a longer time, like into their later teens, to like still feel that way safely, and then like grow in a hormone placement of their choice, like femininely or masculinely, before they have to go through like surgery and all these things to reverse it down the line. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's really sensationalized, like medical transition. People think that, parents, kids, and doctors want to like cut into kids, but that's just not true. Like they just want to listen to them for longer and safely delay like puberty development until like a choice can be made, because that kid's been voicing like gender dysphoria or like confusion, right? So it's like, for me, I think like curbing like suicide rates and like depression and like all the other things, like, and like violence and all the things that go along with like the hardest parts of being like a trans kid after you start developing in the wrong way.
Should have happened before 18, or should have it got nothing to do with me. Do what you want. That's your body. The first two, I played a part in that. I literally played no part in this question. So do what you want with your body. What is my opinion going to affect what you do?
I mean, I feel like if you have a kid, you should support them in whatever they want to do. I mean, unless it's harming someone else or something like that. But I mean, if your child comes to you and they said they're trans or they're gay or whatever it is, you have to accept it like you're their parent. Transgender men are real men.
I would say I don't strongly agree, because I don't know all the information about it as far as all there is to learn. I'm kind of just going with the generation and how we are slowly being introduced to it being a normal concept. And once I know more, I'll definitely be jumping over there.
Yeah, I feel you. Like it's like the prompt could have been transgender men are biological men. Personally, like I don't know exactly what does that mean. What does biological mean, and how is like biological defined when it comes to gender? David, what about you? Why do you strongly agree?
Manhood is what you define it. Like it's a spirit more than it is a gender per se.
Would you say that you don't necessarily?
I like that answer. Something about them. All of them. They picked some great people for this. Shout out to you, Brian Serrata. I like this. I'm going to subscribe to you. I like this. It's not problematic. No one's being a dick. It's refreshing. Shout out to you, Brian. You're going up. Why isn't Brian at 1 million subscribers? Are we kidding? Huh? All right, let's get back to it. But a spirit. It's a spirit. It's deeper than. No, that. All right. This is a good one. This is a good one.
Need male genitalia to be male?
I mean, by textbook definition, I guess it really depends on how, like, you personally look at it. But I feel like manhood is more, like I said, like a spirit. Because there's masculine and feminine energy in everyone.
What about you two? What do you think? The ones who really experience it. I guess I want to piggyback off what he was saying. It's just I feel like for me more, it's like what you make of like what manhood even is, because I have cis friends that like are maybe more feminine or whatever it is, and it's more of like what being a man is to you than like what being a man is essentially. So should we just not have like men and women? For me, I don't really like labels because I feel like you have to like fit yourself in like this box, and I'm never like that. I am pretty passing unless I tell someone that I'm trans. when I tell someone I'm trans, I feel like they have all these ideas of like who I am then, just knowing that one thing about me.
This is a great episode. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. Go ahead.
With other queer people, you don't want to seem like you don't understand the experience or share the experience, right? Because you are a trans person, even if it's not like outwardly visible, right? But then if you're in a space where it's not a super safe or queer space, you don't want to be seen as like a deceiving person. It's kind of an issue of safety in certain instances. What is like a real man is almost like inherently like the question is hard for me to even like consider, just because, you know, scientifically there are all these like aspects that we contribute to male or female, whether that's like hormones or genitalia, but it's like every person has a different nuanced combination of those things, right? Like if someone who's born a quote cis male gets in an accident and loses their genitalia, they're not no longer a man, right? So it's like there's a lot of different ways to kind of look at it, in my opinion.
I like that. That's gonna make me step over. That's a good point. You know what I'm saying? Because that accident part really kind of made some real sense. Actually.
Men should pay on the first date.
Yes. We're not doing this. Get John.
I guess I'm like here.
Hey, I love this. I do. But this is for my people out there. Okay, we enjoying this and everything, but let me talk to y'all real quick. I want y'all to see me. Listen to me. We gonna watch this video and hee and haha, but y'all better not be out here not paying. First date. Okay, we're not doing that. That's not the squad over here. Okay. Okay. We don't do that over here. All right. Y'all listen. All right. Because I don't want y'all getting no ideas. Like, oh yeah, no, we ain't that. But I do want to hear the answer, because maybe I might be persuaded to. No,
We need to get past the whole like gender roles and all that. It's really whatever to me. That's why I'm neutral, though. I don't know. Like, if anything, the first day maybe just split it the first time type shit. Maybe. I don't know.
I say strongly agree. Just because, look, I'm big on, if you invited me, you pay, right? If I invited you, you pay. Like, it's your idea, you pay. But you said first date, and like normally it's the guy going after the woman, right? So normally the first date was my idea. And I like the first date to be my idea, so I'm going to pay for it. So since it is the first date, I will always pay for the first date. Now, if you offer, I'm going to propose to you right then and there. But I'm going to turn it down. But I do like when a woman offers.
That's why I'm here. Like the same reason, which is hella funny because I'm on like the other side. But I'm just like, I strongly disagree because I'm the same way. Like I like to ask people out on a date. I'm like more of like a dominant role in that way. And like, I love to pay. But if someone does pay for me, I'm like, damn. And it doesn't matter their gender. It's like, it's more of just like this like power cute dynamic thing of like, I'm really excited to be here with you and I want to show you. And I want to like kind of take you on
doing that. Yeah, I'm not.
That's this like old school traditional vibey thing.
Do you date women
and men? Yeah, women and men.
Yeah, okay.
And trans people.
So does it differ when you're dating one or the other? Like, do you hold the door for one and not the other?
No, honestly, no. Like I try. It really is person to person. I'd say like I do and I don't. Not dependent on their gender in any way, but depending on their energy and like the vibe.
What about our cis men? Do you hold the door for the ladies?
Yeah.
How come?
2 things.
Why?
Mom said, don't ever let a woman touch her purse or the door. And I live by that.
Okay. So
but
why?
You said you would let her pay it.
I'm here for it.
Men are better leaders than women. Whoa.
Get all the way.
Okay, so women are better leaders than men?
Definitely.
Men have historically led this country specifically, and look where that's gotten us. So, and in addition to that, I feel like as humans, we should look to nature when it comes to leadership and just how we should govern our lives and stuff like that. And feminine energy is, the origin of everything. So I feel like giving our power or the power back to women or predominantly feminine energy would restore balance.
Pretty sure women could save the world. Are already doing it, and we're just not acknowledging it. While men fuck it up. I think that's how I feel most of the time.
Everyone was thinking like government officials. I was thinking like the lowest level, like in between. Like, hey, we're going on a hike. Dangerous, it's like I'm gonna follow. Like, which way do we go? Do we go this way or this way? And the guy's like, I was like, I'm probably gonna follow this guy. Like, I feel like he knows what he's doing. You know what I'm saying?
So that's like the micro version of how we choose leaders. No, totally. But it's like, why did that guy think he knew what he was doing? Because he's big and has always been able to kind of get yes to because of how he looks. Because maybe he's going to lead you into a hole. And there's a girl who's quieter in the back that knows the whole route and would save your ass. But like, I don't know. I'm more keyed into that where I'm like, this big, strong man thinks he knows what he's doing because he's been told that all his life, maybe.
I would date a trans person.
Which way is this?
Let's disagree.
I'm a person who is very big on energy, but as far as like different biological things, I've never experienced how that would be with a trans person, and I'm not really sure if I want to.
What about our trans people? You would date a trans person?
I transitioned later in life, and I also identified as a lesbian for a really long time and just felt comfortable in like a butch lesbian identity until I actually had access to transitioning where I embraced being like bisexual. Yeah, it just took me longer to have that experience, but I definitely would. And every time I've been with another trans person, it's like so healing, and like there's something really special about that connection and like mutual understanding and just the way that like chemistry and even just like feminine and masculine energy exist in much greater multitudes and swirling forms. So yeah, T for T, super fun time.
Yeah, I would date a trans person because I'm trans, so I feel like it'd be kind of weird if I were to be like, no. I honestly, I've never dated someone else who was like trans, but I wouldn't be against it.
I've known a trans woman who was pre-op. Outside, phenomenal, beautiful, but hardware bringing to the table wasn't the hardware I preferred in the bed. She went and got the surgery. Now we can go to that next level, and we went to that next level because you brought the right hardware to the table. But
yeah, I think it's awesome for you to just even like talk about that because it's like, yeah, she didn't do that for you. It's not like she was like, oh, I have to do this for you. We can't be together. Like she did that, and then you guys hooked up and you enjoyed it. It's like, and you're straight as fuck, and that was a straight experience for you. I don't know. I think it's cool of you to speak about it openly.
Cool guy. What can I say?
You know what? And that makes a lot of sense. And here, I'll just show where I've been throughout the course of my life, right? Okay, so I would say to start, I was over here because I was more unfamiliar with it. And I didn't know, like, how does it work down there? How does it work up here? What does it feel like? What's their experience been like? And then as I had a couple experiences, I've never had necessarily a full-on sexual experience with a transgender person. But I remember like one time I was at a pride parade in like North Carolina. I was working this booth, and then this trans guy came up to the booth, and I was talking to him, and like he didn't have a shirt on, he had his scars out, and I was like, and he's just like this little twink guy, and I was like, we're kind of vibing, and I was like, and you're trans, and this is like new to me, and I wouldn't have had that experience if I hadn't met that person right there. I was like gradually like coming this way because I was more exposed to it.
Or maybe it's like the same exact thing as like sleeping with anyone, because it's like before you fuck someone, you don't know what their dick looks like or their pussy looks like or how they fuck or what it's gonna feel like if they're thin or fat or taller than you or whatever. It's like until you guys have been together, you don't know what that's like, and that's like okay, and it can be fun and exciting. You know what I mean? You know.
Okay, so me personally, I've been by both men and women when I was a young lad.
Yeah.
And I understand that that's played a role in how I see relationships and different things and different experiences with both men and women. And it has made me question, my sexuality growing up, which is why I feel like there's just certain things I may not want to experience or even, cross the line with, maybe because of trauma or maybe because of, whatever preconceived societal notion that I've had embedded in me since I was a kid. But either way, it's just not something I want to experience or not something I want to, do. Some may see that as a flaw, some may see that as a fear or whatever it is. But I'm okay with that. I'm okay with, knowing what's for me and what's not for me. So,
Well, first off, I want to say, David, thank you so much for sharing that. And it makes complete sense. I think that people might judge someone, or people might get upset at someone if they just say like, "Oh, I don't want to hook up with a trans person." But like, meanwhile, like, yeah, maybe you don't know their entire story. Maybe there's
No, I mean, I super respect you sharing that for sure. And like, I think that, I mean, a lot of people's experience of like sharing themselves or like being intimate is dictated by a lot like traumas we've had and things we can feel comfortable with. It's completely valid for any reason not to want to sleep with anyone or any type of body for any personal reason. Absolutely. I still feel uncomfortable with anyone saying I don't want to sleep with a trans person, just blanket statement, because there's like so much violence embedded in the history of that phrase.
My opinion. I feel like you have types, and we're not talking about gender. We're not talking about genitalia.
Types, they're totally
right,
one
but
thing,
like,
right? But
feminine is my type. Not having a dick is my type. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I'm not attracted to it.
I think separating the like I'm attracted to someone who's done the work versus like I'm attracted to femininity and I'm not attracted to penises, like those are almost two separate things, right? Because it's like how much a trans person has had hormones or surgery or whatever. Like it's so nuanced. Like some people are just born looking inherently a certain way.
Well, you're kind of saying Marcus could possibly be attracted to a trans person who was pre-op, and because of their
more natural,
pheromones,
God-given,
their
body
femininity
type,
yes,
it would be harder to tell. You know what I mean?
But
So
is
it's like,
is it okay though that like maybe like he would feel the vibes and then like
of course it's totally
but
cool
then
to feel
but
the
then
vibe
after
and then not sleep with someone for any reason. You know what I mean? And like I think personal preferences or like needs or like experiences with certain types of genitalia, whether they're informed by like a strict like relationship to your sexual identity or a trauma experience or whatever, are totally valid. But I think it's like I think what becomes dangerous is the territory of being like, well, you have a penis, so you're not a woman yet. Like that's not true.
no.
Me having a preference and not being able to be sexually turned on by this for whatever reason, that's valid and true. So it's like both of those things are existing at the same time, right?
And that's why I was in the neutral for the day. It's like I'm attracted to what I can see, right? And
Exactly.
That's why I was like, I want you to be safe, and you don't have to tell me. But I wish if you do have a penis, I wish you would tell me as soon as possible, because that's when I would have to.
It's hard because like I mean it's not hard, but like I'm coming from a perspective of like I used to only date women and I was like really into like pussy and like was not turned on by penis for like 25 years, and that really shifted, and my experience of what like penis or vagina is in the moment changes, and it's like more about a power dynamic and like an embodiment in the moment no matter what. So there's parts of me that want to be like we could all get to that place.
Thank you so much for watching.
Yeah, so let me know in the comments how y'all felt about this video. Did you like this video? You enjoy it? I thought it was very good perspectives from different people. That was lit. I enjoyed that video a lot. They touched on topics that people talk about, but I don't think they talk about it enough, which is like the whole dating scene, as a trans person, because, it could be dangerous out there. You don't know people's intentions, and you don't know people's true beliefs and who they are until you meet up with them. And you gotta see if that vibe even clicks. Is this person nuts? Or is this person like, I don't know. You just gotta. It's dangerous, But it sucks because it's like you still want to go out there and meet new people. How are you gonna, you know, maybe you're not looking for the one, but the souls meet. When the souls meet, how you do that if you don't really go out there and put yourself out there, that shouldn't discourage you either, though. You put your soul out there, you're gonna find it. That's what happened to me. Okay, so I'm like, bruh. Yeah, go follow Brian. Go follow his channel. Subscribe to me if you want to keep seeing more videos with me. I'm switching it up. You don't know what I'm about to hit you with. Keep you on your toes, okay? I'm a wild card like Kenya on Real Housewives of Atlanta, okay? Okay? All right, anyways. Thanks for watching this video. Be safe out there. Put yourself out there. If you've been like, I don't know if I should go do it. This is your sign that you need it.